Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
And I'm a no-limit soldier.
Hoo-dee-hoo!
We know no limit.
Welcome to episode 367, Great American Bash, 1999.
The real fireworks start June 13th.
Why do we gotta wait that long?
Oh,
that's what day it is.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But this is the 9th Great American Bash produced by WCW, and the 13th overall. It took place on June 13th, 1999, from the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, with an attendance of 11,672 and a buy rate of 185,000.
This is Baltimore's signature pay-per-view.
Yes.
It's here more than any other place.
I want to say this is like the 5th of the 9 times that WCW's held it.
Yeah, and before that, of course, it was like a touring.
Yeah, a lot of the
like a summer touring.
NWA times it was touring.
Yeah. So here we are again. How great can this American Bash be?
Hopefully it's great.
Fingers crossed every time.
Maybe we'll give it a salute at the end.
God willing.
But something that would happen right around the same time as this show, a few films, 3 in fact, would come to theater the very next weekend. General's Daughter, Run Lola Run, and Tarzan.
General's Daughter is a...
John Travolta,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is his daughter, like, abused or something?
Yes.
And then it's
if I remember correctly.
And it's a trial movie, I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's his daughter. I think he's the lawyer.
Okay. He's the lawyer. It's a trial about a general's daughter. Run Lola Run has been on my watch list for 20 years.
And you never ran to it?
Never have. It's one of those movies that's like it's in the title, I guess. But isn't it like a kind of a foot race through a city?
Yeah.
Hectic.
She is...
It seems like it's up my alley.
She basically has... She was supposed to deliver some money, and then... Something goes wrong, and so then she has 20 minutes to come up with the funds.
Okay. Sounds exactly like the kind of movie I would enjoy.
It's very good.
Yeah. I love Good Time is a good example of that.
It's very kinetic.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. I wish that the last Aronofsky movie was more like that, even though it had its moments. And then Tarzan, I assume the animated one with the Phil Collins soundtrack. Probably one of the last animated Disney movies I saw in the theater.
Really?
Yeah, because I would go, I've said this a million times, but I would go to the mall with my grandma and all my cousins and my sister in the summer a handful of times while we were out of school, and we'd always end up seeing a movie. And I was the second oldest, I'm sure that my older cousin wasn't there sometimes, but I was basically 2 years older than everybody else. So it's oh, well, we're going to see Tarzan. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to go watch Tarzan. But I probably wasn't particularly interested at that point. I've seen Pixar movies post that.
Okay.
Well, actually, you know what? I didn't see any Toy Story in the theater except for one.
Really?
I think the last Disney movie I saw in a theater was the first Zootopia.
And it's good.
I remembered enjoying
Second
it.
Zootopia is very good. I liked it. I actually liked it better than the first one.
I know it cleaned up. Tarzan was kind of but it was kind of the last big animated
I remember watching it when Tarzan first came out, and was just kind of I was kind of mad on it at that point. I think, Pocahontas had already come out, and I was mad on Pocahontas as well.
This is Tarzan's post-Hercules, I think. This is because Hercules was the last of the huge 90s run, and then I think this was the one where they did, I don't know if they went as hard on promotion. Because they used to just spend $500 million on promoting all those movies, from Little Mermaid all the way to probably Tarzan.
Yeah, let's see here. Lion King was 94, Pocahontas 95, Hunchback 96, Hercules 97, Mulan 98, Bug's Life 98,
I saw Bug's Life.
Tarzan 99.
And then what?
So,
Emperor's New Groove.
I mean, they technically Fantasia 2000, Tigger movie. Emperor's New Groove is the next one that you think of, yeah. Which I thought Emperor's New Groove was fun, but it none of them.
I never saw it.
None of them matched up to the quality of
the '90s run,
of the early '90s run.
Yeah. From basically Little Mermaid, which might be '89, to The Lion King.
Little Mermaid is '89,
but I'll get to Run a Little Run at some point. General's Daughter probably doesn't hold up very well.
I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't watched it in a very long time. I do enjoy Travolta in this role. It's actually a pretty good role.
I think the last good role that people talked about him having was playing the lawyer in the OJ show. But
this is the same director who did Con Air just a couple years later, a couple years before.
He's trying to get a little more serious.
And then ended up doing the Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft movie a few years after.
I saw that one in the theater. I don't remember anything about it.
But let's see here. Looks like James Cromwell is the general, who he's always fun.
Yeah. How bad did John Travolta, I mean, this is obvious, but how bad did he fuck up his goodwill that he earned back from Pulp Fiction with choosing just the wrong fucking movies?
I mean, I don't think he made, horrible decisions.
They weren't good ones.
Because, I mean, these movies made money up until, Get Shorty, Broken Arrow.
I'm talking
I mean, Phenomenon and Michael were probably bad choices. But then he did Face Off.
He should have leaned probably.
Civil Action and General's Daughter. But I think the one that, kind of hurt him was Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, which I only saw once in the theater with my grandmother, and I loved it. But I only loved it because I was a kid who liked anything that was science fiction. I know that it is famously a bad and funny movie, and I would probably love it for a completely different reason now.
Because, after Battlefield Earth...
My grandma hated it. I remember that.
Basic, and then Be Cool, which was a Get Shorty sequel.
That's one of the early Rock performances where he's, being funny when he used to have a soul.
Yeah.
Because he's funny in that movie. He plays, a gay character.
Those are the only two movies, after Battlefield Earth that... I mean, there's other movies, but, those are the two bigger theatrical releases. And then until, 2007, when he does Wild Hogs and Hairspray, and he kind of became less of a...
I know that the remake of Hairspray is supposedly good, but I kind of refuse to watch it because I love the first one so much.
But he really hasn't done a whole lot in the last 19 years, really, that I can say that...
He did the movie, the Fred Durst movie.
Did he?
I think Fred Durst directed a movie where he plays, a handicapped guy. And I remember when it came out, there was a lot of fun videos about how ridiculous it was. But he plays, a mentally deficient character.
I mean, he played Robert Shapiro in the OJ
Yeah, that's the last
drama.
time I heard anybody, praise him for being...
Yeah, he was very good in that. I do agree. I will say he was very good at that. But yeah, if you like a court case drama, General's Daughter's there for you. If you like a fun action film that's very just...
Rush of
energy. Run a Little Run.
And how big of a fan are you of Phil Collins?
I was a big Genesis person back in the day.
Yeah. I was just saying if you like to push him towards Tarzan.
Yeah.
But you were a big Genesis guy?
I did like Genesis back in the day, so...
I've tried from the beginning of their discography, and I never clicked. I remember just going through albums and I'm like, when is it going to click? Maybe it will one day.
Perhaps it will. But yeah, animation, Tarzan's there. If you haven't seen it, Tarzan's probably actually I'd say Run Lola Run's probably the best of these three movies. But I have recently watched Tarzan, and I did like it much better on the rewatch than I did back in the day. Because, I mean, back in the day, I was just still sitting there going, I'm disappointed in this because it's not Aladdin, Lion King.
Yeah, but it's animated really well, and it's not stylized like the.
Well, so did you know
Hercules is stylized in a way which works for it? But
the sliding scenes where he's sliding on the tree is Tony Hawk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they literally just took pictures of Tony Hawk doing grinds and stuff, and that's what they used to animate him sliding on the trees.
That's neat.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, yes, the music for Tarzan is very, very good. Like, I don't know if I appreciated it as much until I rewatched it, and then I kind of, like, got on a kick and, like, listened to the soundtrack for, like, 3 or 4 straight days.
Yeah. I mostly remember Jane being hot.
Yes. Jane was hot.
I mean, it's a Disney movie. You draw the characters hot.
Well, let's talk some great American Bash. We're backstage where a limo is pulling up. Master P and the No Limit Soldiers exit the vehicle when Curt Hennig arrives to welcome them to the arena, saying he's a huge fan, that he's bowdy all the way, and asking if he can get an autograph. Master P pulls out a CD, puts a signature on it, handing it to Hennig, who shows how much he respects the gesture by breaking it in half.
Oh my God.
Which pisses the soldiers off. We then go to a video package over our main event where Savage paints Nash's face with makeup before a flying elbow drop, followed by Kevin getting some revenge by dumping waste into Team Madness's limo.
Yeah, he like empties a septic tank into it.
It's
pretty gnarly stuff. Obviously, it's not real poop, but it's kind of a very 90s gross out humor.
Macho would then show up the next week with a bucket of poop, when a contortionist would come out of a bag that was left in the ring to sneak behind Savage and dump the bucket on him.
We're going full Looney Tunes here. Because I was like, who's the cute redhead? And it's like, oh, she was just a hired contortionist.
Yeah.
They didn't say that really in the package. I was like, oh, is this a new character? Because she was cute enough to be a wrestling ballet hottie. Yeah.
Next, the ladies of Team Madness seem to be flirting with Nash, only for Macho to steal his limo with him inside, leaving it for the white Hummer to jackknife the vehicle, with Kevin possibly injured.
I got a real kick out of that one. I was like, oh, we're just going to drive a Hummer into it.
Pyro goes off in the arena with Tony Schiavone welcoming us to the show, joined by Mike Tenay and Bobby, the Brain Heenan. And they discuss Master P, the main event, before going to a video showing off the matches for the evening, followed by a video specifically for our next match, showing Jimmy Hart offering Brian Knobbs a spot in the First Family, along with confrontations with Hack when the family would come out to help. So that takes us to our first match. Brian Knobbs with Jimmy Hart versus Hack with Chastity in a kendo stick match.
Yep. Cool. I laughed that Jimmy Hart had a Misfits skull on his jacket. I don't know if they've shown up on TV yet or not, but I assume that they have.
I don't think so.
Really? Maybe they're in talks.
So Knobbs takes the mic to call the crowd losers, that it's a nasty day in Baltimore, because it's Mrs. Nasty's birthday, with her present being him destroying Hack, wanting to get rid of the canes and just duke it out. But Brian attacks with a trash can before the bell rings to gain the advantage. And Hack's given a pit stop before kicking a chair into Knobbs' face and slamming him into the steel multiple times. The drunken one goes under the ring to grab a ladder, throwing it in with the apparatus landing on Brian, only for Knobbs to make it back to his feet to use the trash can again. And Knobbs tries to use the ladder, but Hack kicks him down, so he heads to the apron to slingshot himself in for a leg drop atop the weapon on his opponent. And Brian's leg gets trapped in the ladder, so the drunken one uses the chair to whack the apparatus several times, followed by setting it in the corner, only for Knobbs to fight back to toss Hack into the weapon. And Brian continues using a trash can lid and the ladder to keep Hack down, until setting the apparatus back in the corner, when the drunken one would yank Knobbs into the weapon. Hack then places his opponent on the ladder in the middle of the ring, and heads up top. But Brian moves in time, causing the drunken one to swanton himself right onto the apparatus. and the latter's dropped on Hack multiple times before Hart climbs to the apron with chair in hand, with Knobs looking to toss his opponent into it. But the whip's reversed, causing Bryan to take the shot, followed by a kendo stick shot from Hack for the pin and the win.
It's all we thought it would be.
Post-match, Hugh Morris runs out to beat down the Drunken One, delivering a spike piledriver with the help of Knobs, before they place the ladder atop Hack for a no-laughing matter. And Bryan keeps up the attack with a trash can-assisted splash as well, to leave the Drunken One laid out.
This is our hardcore division of WCW.
That's right. We go backstage to see Roddy Piper leaving an office, when Buff Bagwell stops him to let him know that he has Piper's back tonight, thanking him for giving him the ball to run with. But neither really seemed that sincere about this conversation.
Bagwell's incapable of being sincere. That's kind of his character, right?
Yeah. So we go to our second match. Mikey Whipwreck versus Van Hammer.
So we got a David versus Goliath.
And the last time we saw Hammer was at Sold Out 99, episode 340. So it's been a few months.
Yeah.
And I think he was doing peace signs and tie-dye then as well.
Maybe. There's worse people that show back up from time to time than Van Hammer.
Whipwreck's shoved about to start, but he answers back with several arm drags until Hammer blocks to take his opponent down with a backbreaker, chokes, slamming him into a corner, and a body slam for a 2 count. And the big man continues to beat down with stomps when Mikey trips him up and goes for a monkey flip, only for Hammer to catch and place Whipwreck on the turnbuckles to deliver a heel toss across the ring.
Nasty.
A hard whip to a corner, superplex, and a leg drop by the big man for a near fall, before placing Mikey in a leverage-aided ab stretch, when the ref sees it and attempts to break it up. But Hammer's too strong at first, until Whipwreck hip tosses out of the hold.
Funny that Mikey Whipwreck could hip toss. I guess he's shorter, more to pull on, but yeah. Props to Van Hammer for selling the superplex. It's got to be sold.
Mikey goes for a backslide, only for the big man to just ram his opponent into a corner.
What was he thinking?
More chokes and tossing Whipwreck out to the floor. And Hammer continues the punishment by placing the ring steps next to the railing to drop Mikey throat first across the steel. But Whipwreck's able to recover to yank the big man into the guardrail as well.
Oof.
Hammer's placed straddling the ropes for Mikey to slingshot back into the ring with a leg drop, followed by a slingshot somersault plancha onto his opponent on the outside. The big man's rolled in, with Whipwreck heading up top to connect with a flying clothesline for a 2 count. Goes back up to try again, only this time he's caught and driven down by an Alabama slam. Hammer then applies the Cobra Clutch into a slam for the pin and the win. I'll give Hammer some credit. The Cobra Clutch slam.
It's cool.
It is a pretty cool move.
Yeah, bummer for Mikey, but Van Hammer is huge and more athletic, and I still don't believe that they will be pushing either of them in a meaningful way.
So we go to our third match, Disco Inferno versus Buff Bagwell. And they have a cheer-off to start when Inferno realizes that he's getting booed, followed by back and forth action full of shoulder blocks and leapfrogs, until Disco nails a swinging neckbreaker, sending Buff rolling out to regroup. Now back in, more shoulder blocks are shared when Inferno misses a clothesline, leading to Bagwell kicking him in the gut and delivering a swinging neckbreaker of his own, before controlling the match with a wristlock, strikes, and a back elbow in the corner.
This match is like, is it Evil Dead 2 where Ash is like fighting himself? Because these two characters, it's like, oh, if Disco Inferno was more ripped, like both these guys are capable of playing each other's characters. To me, they're so similar. One's a little sillier, but they're both like the same guy, same kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Buff looks to hit his finisher, but Disco stumbles away to the floor to avoid, only to return to more wrist locks and shoulder blocks when he catches Bagwell for a hot shot throat first across the ropes. Oof. A clothesline, an atomic drop, chokes, and stomps. Inferno continues with a second rope elbow drop for a 2 count. Tries for another, but Buff moves in time, rallying with a back body drop, clotheslines, and mounted punches in a corner. Bagwell goes to the top, only for Disco to hit the ropes, causing Buff to crotch himself and crash out to the floor, with Inferno giving chase to nail a last dance on the outside, with Bagwell barely beating the countout. Disco now goes for a pile driver, but Buff reverses it into a back body drop, followed by strikes, a back elbow, and a drop kick, only for a rake of the eyes to slow the momentum, until Bagwell reverses a whip, with Inferno charging out into a power slam. Buff then heads up the turnbuckles again to deliver the blockbuster for the pin and the win. Yep.
Two lower mid-card guys having a lower mid-card match.
I mean, these are two guys that, they can heat up at times to push them into a U.S. title picture.
They can go from match 3 to 4. Some maybe 5, but that's kind of where they're at on the card. Yeah. It's just a little up, little down. Who's healthy this month?
We go to a video package over our next match, where Curt Hennig's working over Konnan during an episode of Nitro, when Savage would interrupt, followed by Hennig complaining about K-Dog using rap music, which brings Konnan out to beat him down.
Rap is crap.
Curt then brings in reinforcements in Bobby Duncum Jr., taking over DJ Rand's booth to sing a country song, with K-Dog and Rey Mysterio having a problem with their attitude, leading to a series of matches between the 4 men, as Hennig says, that rap is crap.
The song is very silly, but this is just...
But it's catchy.
It's catchy.
I hate rap.
Yeah, I didn't realize it started with Curt. I thought, because Chef Jarrett does this later.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I just remembered it incorrectly. But, yeah, very funny. Also, Curt Hennig does not come off as the Southern guy to me.
He's from Minnesota, so of course he doesn't.
Yeah. And then Bobby Duncum Jr., it's like, well, yeah, he's the big cowboy. But it's funny that, not that people love country music everywhere. Minnesota makes just as much sense, but if we're going to talk stereotypes, which wrestling loves, Curt Hennig doesn't fit it.
But that takes us to our 4th match. Curt Hennig and Bobby Duncum Jr. versus Konnan and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Bobby Duncum Jr. is my least favorite wrestling name of all time, just because of the last name. It's so horrible. I hate saying it. I hate hearing it.
Just you wait. And the great Rap is Crap song plays out the Rednecks, while Master P and his soldiers are watching on from the crowd.
Of course they are.
And K-Dog takes the mic to do his shtick before Ray gives respect to all his no-limit soldiers with a hooty-hoo! Hennig then takes the mic to insult Master P, saying his songs sound like he needs to use the toilet, until their opponents attack to start the match.
That might be true, but make him say, Quite the tune.
No.
Quite the tune.
And that sends Duncum to the floor, followed by Konnan catapulting Mysterio into a dropkick of Curt, causing the Rednecks to regroup. And they end up getting too close to the soldiers, so Master P slaps Hennig. But the match finally gets going, with K-Dog hitting a bulldog and a head scissors from Ray to Bobby, before dropkicking Hennig off the apron. Mysterio goes to springboard back in, but Duncum catches and drives Ray down with a backbreaker and a powerbomb, followed by tagging in his partner. And the Rednecks are working over Mysterio with quick tags, chops, gutbusters, hard whips into corners, and a side slam.
It's a long heat session on Ray.
Before dragging him to the floor to run Ray into the railing. Now back inside, Curt keeps up the attack with drop kicks, double teams, an atomic drop, and more chops, when Bobby would yank Mysterio's balls first into the ring post. Knee lift, and Hennig just sits on his opponent for a cover, only for Ray to roll him over for a 2 count of his own, as Duncum breaks it up. And Curt pays tribute to his friend Rick Rude with a hip swivel before returning to the punishment of Mysterio, when Ray would escape the corner to make a tag, with Konnan delivering a rolling lariat to Bobby. But the ref never saw the tag and forces K-Dog back to the apron. Rednecks go right back to choking Mysterio, followed by a suplex, a neck vice by Hennig, when Ray attempts a quebrada, only to be caught. But Mysterio wiggles free to shove Curt into the corner chest first, followed by a drop kick and making the crawl for the hot tag. Konnan with a face buster to Duncum, Ray with a rough rider, K-Dog with a face buster to Hennig, only for Curt to drag Konnan to the floor, where he slams his opponent's head into the guardrail. While inside the ring, Mysterio reverses a powerbomb attempt into a head scissors to take down Bobby. Barry Windham then comes running out to help the Rednecks, so Swole, the bodyguard of Master P, jumps the railing to attack Duncan and Windham, leading to Ray nailing a slingshot leg drop for the pin and the win. Post-match, all the soldiers jump the railing, bringing out security, which I actually noticed one of them was the future Reno.
Cool.
We probably won't meet him for like another year or so. But
I don't even know who Reno is. Should I?
He has a cool finisher.
Okay.
I liked him back in the day. He doesn't ever do anything major.
No, yeah. But he was a cool finisher. Goes a long way.
And the security breaks it up, but allows the Rednecks to be left alone with their opponents in the ring, with Bobby breaking out the rope to hog-tie Mysterio and beating down K-Dog with a double clothesline and stomps.
Get their heat back.
And here's some random no-limit soldier stuff that I found.
Love to hear it.
Master P would get $200,000 per appearance.
Incredible. The Master P story is incredible because he truly DIY was like in Houston, new style of rap music, and just selling CDs out of the trunk of his car to the point where he's getting $200,000 from WCW, and No Limit was like the biggest rap thing for. It's like, you know, there was Bad Boy and there was Death Row, and No Limit came out of the center of the country post that and got to the point where like Snoop Dogg was like every rapper was on No Limit for a moment. Master P, maybe the best rap entrepreneur of all time.
Another fun fact, radio stations would start playing rap as crap. So WCW would end up sending cease and desist letters to them. And you're probably like, wouldn't they want the publicity? But the Rednecks are supposed to be the heels. And the No Limit Soldiers are the faces.
Yeah.
In the South.
It's just another thing where WCW, it's like, oh, I appreciate the attempt, like, to do wrestling old school, but they're just so stupid at every turn. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just afraid of going into the South, or maybe a motorcycle rally with black wrestlers again. Yeah. I don't know.
Today also gives us some history of Swole. He was a former NFL player, a big name in the bodybuilding world, before becoming Master P's bodyguard. So, just...
He doesn't get into wrestling?
He does.
Okay, I had a feeling because his name was Swole, and he was the big guy that was out in front of everyone.
Basically, from what I've gathered, Master P did all this to help Swole get into wrestling.
And for $200,000. I
mean, yes, but...
Which, obviously, he probably shared with all of his buddies, and they probably like wrestling to an extent.
Yep. We then get a replay of what we just saw before the announcers talk more about our main event. But that takes us to our fifth match. The Cat, Ernest Miller, with Sonny Onoo, versus Horace Hogan.
How did this get on at 4? I guess everybody needs a piss match.
Well, it was supposed to be Scott Norton.
Yes, they do say that.
And I literally cannot find a real reason why it's not. Maybe he just didn't make it to the arena.
Maybe he was going to make more money in Japan. Maybe they just made this up so they could put Horace on the show.
No clue. But literally, Horace takes a mic to say that Miller hit him on Monday with a crowbar, so he's there now to kick the crap out of the cat. And so that's why Horace Hogan is in this match.
And Ernest is, I don't know when the last time we saw him was, but he's on to a James Brown gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, it's dancing shoes, man. And Ernest actually responds that he already beat Hogan. So, and he's like, Norton, get out here. You're who I wanted to face. But Horace just jumps in the ring with the ref calling for the bell. So the match is on. And we get exchange strikes to start when Hogan would hit a clothesline, chops, and chokes to take control, followed by a heel toss and being sent to the floor momentarily.
Say what you will about Hulk Hogan, but referring to Horace Hogan as just Hogan feels so wrong. It just feels so wrong. But that's okay.
Back in, the cat fires up with a thrust kick, strikes, and chokes of his own, before a body slam, chokes, and tossing Horace to the outside, where Sonny gets a few shots in as well, only for Hogan to shake them off and stalk after Onoo. I mean, if Hulk Hogan would just go down to the mid-card every once in a while.
Yeah, of course he would.
We wouldn't have this Horace Hogan issue. And Miller uses the distraction to attack from behind, running Hogan into a guardrail, when they return to the squared circle, where Horace delivers a scoop slam and an elbow drop for a 2 count. A low blow changes the momentum, with Ernest nailing a double throat thrust, but runs into a big boot and a splash in the middle of the ring from Hogan. The cat's picked up when Sonny would climb to the apron, so Horace drops his opponent to confront him, when Miller would charge in, only to be back body dropped to the floor. Onoo would then pull Ernest's red dancing shoes from his briefcase, with the cat putting them on, while Sonny would distract Hogan again, who knocks him off the apron. But he turns right around into a super kick from Miller for the pin and the win.
And the loaded dancing shoes.
Post-match, Ernest does some dancing in those shoes until Horace recovers to knock the cat out of the ring and bailing to the back.
Did any of Hulk Hogan's children ever attempt wrestling?
Think Nick did, but not. I don't know if he ever.
Not any. He obviously didn't have it, or he didn't take it anywhere.
No.
Just curious, because it seems like everybody's kid, whether they like it or not, ends up if they were successful.
Yeah.
But even if sometimes if they're not, look at Paige. Her parents weren't successful wrestlers.
We go to a video recap over our next match, where we see Roddy Piper talking about all the reasons Ric Flair shouldn't run WCW, when the Nature Boy would come out to attack, leading to a match on Nitro, where the Horsemen would turn on Nate.
Horsemen have been dead for so long, who even cares?
But that takes us to our 6th match. Nature Boy, Ric Flair, with Arn Anderson and Asya, versus Roddy Piper, to be president of WCW.
Again?
We
already determined.
Did we determine? Remember, that was the match that Eric Bischoff came out.
We determined that Eric Bischoff was in charge.
Yeah.
These guys are just 2 old men yelling at the clouds.
Well, they're going to do some more
yelling at the clouds in each other's heads.
We get traded chops early on when Roddy gets the advantage with a back body drop, backing his opponent into the corner with jabs, which leads to a Flair flop, followed by a poke to the eyes and a backslide for a 2 count. And the Nature Boy gets mad at the ref and shoves him, only for Randy Anderson to shove back, sending Nate bailing to regroup on the floor. Back in, Piper continues with strikes when Flair goes low and tosses his opponent out of the ring, where the Enforcer and Asya get a few shots in, before rolling Roddy in for another low blow.
Have you ever seen a Roddy Piper and Ric Flair match before?
A few dozen times. This is what we're getting.
It's what we're getting, guys. They only work if the stakes are real. Because I like these guys, and I like when they have matches, but there really needs to be something that matters. And they've already proved to us that this doesn't. But who knows? Maybe they'll turn it around. Maybe they've learned their lesson.
The Nature Boy with chops to knock down Piper, who grabs hold of Nature's trunks to show us Moon and be dragged around the ring, until Roddy gets himself rolled up for a near fall. Flair heads up top, but Piper meets him there to press slam him down, followed by a series of clotheslines, only for the Nature Boy to rake the eyes and toss Roddy back to the outside, where Arn looks to get involved again, but Piper takes him out with a right hand. And Roddy returns to the ring with a sunset flip for a 2 count, before locking on a sleeper in the middle of the ring, which Nate escapes by shoving Piper away, where Anderson would grab Roddy's boot to trip him up. And Flair would pull some brass knuckles out of his boots to knock Piper down for a near fall, followed by applying the figure 4 with leverage provided by the Enforcer, when Buff Bagwell would run down to attack Arn and the Nature Boy, causing a disqualification, keeping Nate as the president.
We're going to go back. We're going to do this again.
Post-match, Bagwell no-sells Nate's chops to nail a back body drop and clotheslines to Flair, when Roddy would attack Buff. And Piper and Bagwell trade strikes when Anderson would jump in the ring to hit a Spine Buster, leading to Roddy whipping Buff with a belt and leaving him laid out.
So, are the old men just going to link up?
Roddy becomes the vice president.
Okay. They did a thing, but could have been done on television.
Yep.
Or the last time they had this match.
Yeah. But this is what I'm talking about with Buff. Like, they're going to use this as a way of trying to heat him up.
Yeah.
Which they can do, but in the end, he's still Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, well, very true. I mean, he's still the baby brother Steiner, but doesn't have the talent or intensity. Yeah. It's just like he's the Timu Steiner brother.
We go to a video package over our next match, where Rick Steiner tells Sting that if he wants some, come get some, which the Stinger does, with the two fighting in the aisleway, leading to a match inside a cage, with Tank Abbott as the ref, only for Tank to attack Sting, followed by the dog-faced gremlin and his brother attacking the Stinger during another episode of Nitro. But that takes us to our 7th match, Rick Steiner versus Sting, in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Grudge match.
And the Stinger hammers away to start, taking down his opponent with a clothesline and tossing him outside to begin. But Steiner gains the upper hand by sending Sting into the ring steps and railing. Now back inside, the dog-faced gremlin keeps up the attack with right hands and raking of the face, only for the Stinger to answer back with multiple atomic drops and a dropkick. And Steiner's sent to the floor again, where Sting runs him into the guardrail and into the crowd, when the dog-faced gremlin would toss a drink into the Stinger's face to change the momentum, and grabbing a chair to whack his opponent across the back. Sting returns the liquid flavor, but Steiner avoids missing a Stinger splash on the barricade, causing Sting to crash into the steel, followed by being dumped chest first onto it as well. And the dog-faced gremlin yanks up one of the mats to pile drive the Stinger onto the concrete for a 2 count, before taking it back inside the ring to hit a released German for a near fall. Oof. And Steiner starts working the back, looking to pounce on it, only for Sting to get his knees up to the Chihuahuas, followed by delivering a pair of pump splashes and a top rope flying splash for a 2 count. But a low blow by the dog-faced gremlin allows him to lock on a bow and arrow hold, but the Stinger powers through to make it to his feet, knocking his opponent into a corner for a pair of Stinger splashes, and applies the Scorpion Deathlock, only for Steiner to crawl his way to the ropes.
Get him.
Sting throws the dog-faced gremlin to the floor, where they take the fight down the aisleway, connecting on a vertical suplex on the ramp, before going to the WCW.com booth, where Chris Jericho's helping commentate, to slam Steiner's head into the table. And they continue their way backstage, where Tank Abbott, Scott Steiner, a pair of Doberman pinchers, and a Rottweiler all attack the Stinger, when the camera would cut to the crowd.
This is the dumbest shit.
And the Steiners make their way back to the ring, dragging the ref, threatening Mickey J to give Rick the match, which he does for the win. And they continue to talk up themselves for way too long, even calling Baltimore a shitty town.
Also, like, they're like, oh, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. We can't show it to you. And it's like, this is already stupid, but it's in bad taste after Owen just died. Yeah. It's an extra bad taste because, like, we all know it's not real. So then that's just stupid, and it makes us think that you're stupid or think that we're stupid. And then you're talking like he needs to go to the hospital. This is the worst thing we've ever seen. And a couple weeks ago, a man just like died on pay-per-view. It's just, it would have been dumb either way. It would have been just as dumb either way, but it's extra dumb.
Yeah.
With that little, it's like, we can't show this. It's like they literally had the camera on the crowd for 10 minutes while a man was legitimately dead in the ring. And now we're doing, oh, the dogs got him. And it's like, number one, the dogs didn't get him.
He was holding a piece of food in his hand, so they would come after him.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so stupid. Yeah. So fucking stupid.
We go to a video package over our next match, where we see Bam Bam and Diamond Dallas Page ambushing Saturn and Raven in the back on a Nitro, before Page gets Flair to give them the title shot. We then get footage of Benoit and Malenko telling Arn their thoughts on the Nature Boy, which would lead to the Horsemen breaking up, followed by Bigelow tossing the tormented soul into a dumpster and wanting their title shot that night, leaving Perry without a partner. And Tenay explains that to Saturn and Kanyon, with them accepting the challenge, only for DDP and Bam Bam to take out Kanyon. So Perry makes it to the ring for the match without a partner, taking on the challengers, when Kanyon would arrive to make the hot tag, but quickly would get pinned to give us new champions. Nate would try to convince Benoit that they should team up to take on Page and Bigelow, only for Saturn to put his claim in for a rematch. Now during the match, Flair would leave the Crippler to be beaten down. He literally leaves to the back.
Yep.
When Perry would run down to make the save and gain the titles back. Kanyon would also come out to celebrate with Saturn, but would nail him with a flatliner, leading to a beatdown of Perry and Benoit.
Is the correct word overbooked?
Yes.
Okay, because I had a hard time following that, what you just said, and I watched the show.
I mean, literally, I was watching this and I was just like, just have Kanyon turn on Perry in the first match.
And join
Bigelow and Page. Then you don't have to...
Which is a cool team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Canyon's super tall, Bam Bam is the meatiest of boys, and DDP is not a small man by any means, but he is the like face of the team.
Yeah.
And they look good together. I love the idea of Bam Bam and DDP together. And I also love the idea of Kanyon breaking away and like being the third of a team that's two established stars. They just went the long route to get there.
Yeah. That takes us to our 8th match, the Jersey Triad of Diamond Dallas Page and Kanyon with Bam Bam Bigelow versus Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit for the WCW World Tag Team Championships.
Also a cool combination of people. Saturn and Benoit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They can both fucking go.
I mean, these are 5 guys in this match that
I'm always
happy to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, but Saturn, more power moves. Chris Benoit is a little more technical. It's a good combo.
The champs came out to Malenko's music. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, just because. Yeah, this whole thing was very confusing until it started going, and I was like, all right, well now I'm just watching a match. That's all.
And the Chiron under them actually said Brian Knobs.
I saw that. I think it was up for a second. And they pulled it back. I don't even know if they got out the right names in time.
But the Crippler and Kanyon start us off with back and forth action full of shoulder blocks, drop kicks, strikes, chops, and back elbows, until Benoit just tosses his opponent high into the air to fall face first. Page jumps in only to be clotheslined, followed by Kanyon being clotheslined out of the ring as well, leaving the champions standing tall inside the ring.
This is like, for as far as heavyweights go, everybody in this match kind of can do all the things that anybody would ever want to see. Like they run the gamut of quality wrestling.
Perry and DDP both tag in, with Page delivering several shoulder blocks, but Saturn answers back with a drop toe hold, scoop slam, and a springboard leg drop. When Kanyon would jump in, only to be sent to the floor quickly, while the Crippler slams Page before a clothesline from Perry to cause him to roll out to regroup. And the challengers escape back into the ring as the champs give chase, attacking Bam Bam, only to be taken down by stereo overhead belly-to-bellies, followed by a clothesline that takes Saturn and Kanyon out of the ring. And Benoit works on DDP when Bigelow would trip up the Crippler, allowing Page to clothesline their opponent to the floor, where Bam Bam drops him on a railing. And back inside DDP with an elbow drop and a short arm clothesline, Kanyon with turnbuckle smashes and a second rope modified rocker dropper for a 2 count, before Page returns to run Benoit chest first into a corner and a back suplex for a near fall. And the Crippler rolls through on a powerbomb attempt to rally with a bridging German suplex. He tries for a second one, but DDP holds onto his partner to block and then mule kick low blow to regain control. And Page nails a sit-out powerbomb, followed by Kanyon attempting a top rope moonsault, only for Benoit to avoid and make the crawl for the hot tag.
It's a big boy to be missing that move.
Saturn cleans house with strikes, super kick, and a T-bone suplex, and heads up top for a flying splash to DDP for a 2 count. Perry with a basement drop kick that knocks Kanyon out of the ring, followed by mounted punches to Page in a corner. But Kanyon's made his way back in to pick up Saturn for an inverted electric chair facebuster for a near fall. And Kanyon keeps up the attack with chokes and dumps Perry to the floor, where Bigelow gets some more shots in, before rolling him in for a side Russian leg sweep and an elbow drop that gets a 2 count. And Saturn continues to be worked over by the challengers, including double teams, swinging neckbreaker, and a flying splash for a near fall, when Perry would escape their clutches to make the tag, only for the ref to not see it, forcing Benoit back to the apron. And DDP whips Saturn to a corner and charges in with a splash, but Perry moves in time and makes the crawl for the hot tag. Crippler with clotheslines to Kanyon, turnbuckle smash to Page, runs the challengers into each other, with DDP stumbling out into a headbutt to his partner's gut. Bam Bam then jumps on the apron, so Benoit rams Kanyon into him to knock Bigelow down, connecting with a series of German suplexes for a 2 count, as Page is back in to break it up. And the Crippler continues with a dragon suplex to Kanyon for a near fall, while Saturn stops DDP from breaking it up with a side Russian leg sweep. And both of the champs head up top, with Benoit hitting a diving headbutt, but Perry gets caught mid-air by a diamond cutter, leaving everyone down momentarily. Dean Malenko then storms to the ring, helping Saturn up, while the Crippler locks on the crossface to Page, only for the ref to be distracted. Bigelow then jumps in the ring to break it up, picking up Benoit for a double-team diamond cutter with DDP, with Kanyon making the cover for the pin and the win. Hennig! Post-match, Malenko comes into the ring to check on his partners, only to receive the double-team diamond cutter onto a belt as well for his troubles.
A good match that was just so unbelievably overbooked. It was really cool that Kanyon got the pin. That was nice. It was nice of them in a world of wrestling where people typically don't have to be nice.
Yeah. We go to a video package over the main event, but it's the same package from the beginning of the show. So.
I mean, come on. Holy time padding, Batman. It's like they show the whole thing at the beginning of the show, and then it's the same exact package.
Yep.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know why they showed it early, the whole thing early in the show in the first place. You could have talked about the match and teased it, and then play the whole package before the match. It's like they don't know how to format a show.
Almost. So we go to our 9th match. Macho Man, Randy Savage, with Team Madness. Of Gorgeous George, Madusa, and Miss Madness, versus Kevin Nash for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And Michael Buffer's here to do the announcement, so let's get ready to flush.
Oh, yeah. All the doo-doo.
Tons of poop in their build-up.
Yeah. We'll see how much poop shows up in this match.
So Big Sexy hammers away to begin with strikes, knee lifts, elbows, corner clotheslines, and a side slam, only to hold his injured ribs in pain. Because remember, he was in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And Savage fires up to work over the injury, clotheslining his opponent over the ropes to the floor, where he keeps up the attack by running Nash into the railing. And Madusa gets a few cheap shots in as well while the ref's distracted. But Kevin slows the momentum with a low blow to Macho once he's back inside the ring, only for Miss Madness to deliver a missile dropkick to regain control. And Savage heads up top to nail the flying elbow drop for the pin. And no, Nash kicks out. And Macho's arguing with the ref, allowing Kevin to recover and rally with strikes, snake eyes, and a big boot, followed by connecting with the jackknife powerbomb. Team Madness all jumps in to attack Nash, but he fends them off when Sid Vicious would come down to hit a big boot to the champ for the disqualification. Post-match, Sid powerbombs Big Sexy before helping Savage to the back as Tony says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
One thing I want to point out is before Sid comes out, Miss Madness comes off the top and gets caught by Kevin Nash and dumped to the mat so poorly and sloppily that Madusa rapidly pulls her out of the ring to check on her. There's obvious concern because it was a nasty fall. I'm just well, all right.
So I got a fun fact here for you.
Okay.
Before we move on, I'm sure you're thinking Savage drove the limo, Kevin Nash gets hit by the white Hummer, and now Sid Vicious shows up. So he must have been the driver, right?
That didn't occur to me, but it makes sense
2 + 2
in the way wrestling works.
Equals Sid Vicious, right?
Yeah.
But it's not him.
I assumed that it was somebody with Macho, but
Macho was driving the limo.
I know, but I assume it was somebody that aligned with him, but it could be a lady. Ladies can drive. Madusa is a monster truck driver.
Are you ready for the answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, to this day, in 2026, we still have no clue who drove the Hummer.
It was Madusa, I'm telling you. She goes on to be a monster truck driver.
It might have been. But literally, they never tell...
Did they even ask the question?
They do ask the question. Okay. And the only answer is Sid was not the driver. That's really the only answer that's ever given. I think at some point they do say someone else possibly was, but they say that they're not. But it's 6 months down the line when everyone's forgotten about it completely. Yeah. Because this is what WCW does.
I didn't even think or care about who drove it. I just it's somebody aligned with Macho Man. He's got 3 ladies. But yeah, the Sid thing, it's well, that would make sense. They revealed that.
Yeah. So I ask you, Michael, what are your overall thoughts of Great American Bash 1999?
It is hard to care about anything on this show, but there is a couple of good matches.
Yeah.
That tag match that we just talked about, the Bam Bam, Benoit, Kanyon, DDP, Saturn, really fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Overbooked, but as far as the in-ring stuff was great, but I couldn't care about how it came to be or where it was going because they overbooked it. And then some stuff is just so stupid that you don't care. Mm-hmm. And there's not really any in between. The Macho Nash thing could be more compelling if it wasn't so full of poop, which makes it silly, and it was just an excuse for Sid to show back up, which is cool. I'm pro Sid.
I was going to make a horrible rap as crap joke, and then...
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
And then that leads to poop, and...
Yeah.
WCW's just trying to tell us that rap is poop. But...
the thing with the word crap is that nobody ever says that anymore. We'd think crap. It's it just isn't good. This drill I bought at a garage sale doesn't work. It's a piece of crap. But I don't think poop in my head. Yeah. Because it's just kind of moved away from that.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard somebody say, I got to take a crap? It's really funny, but like just nobody says
Most people just say, "God, that shit."
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you think Midwest or not Midwest? I guess maybe like I guess it's Midwest, like a Fargo accent. Like, oh crap.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this show, literally going into it, I had read some of the reviews of this show. And
what do they look like? How do they sound?
They were not nice to this show at all.
I can't imagine that they were.
And so I think that lowered my expectations for it. So I can't say that I was disappointed in the show.
You had a little bit of a buffer. You were warned.
I'm not saying the show was good, but I'm not mad about it.
I can kind of agree with that too. It didn't seem like as big of a chore as some WCW shows, even though this amounted to a hill of beans.
Yes. But I mean, that's basically what all WCW shows at this point are. We're watching them because
it's WCW.
It's WCW and it's part of the history of wrestling. But I can honestly say I think we're all counting down the time clock, the calendar that when.
Well, Ready to Rumble hasn't dropped yet. And I was thinking about it because that movie opens with a poop gag. And there's...
Sure, that's probably where they thought of this whole month's worth of build-up.
And this main event is full of poop gags. But yeah, that movie starts with a septic tank tube poop gag, which is used...
I mean, we're covering it probably in the next few months.
Yeah.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I really enjoyed the in-ring work of our 8th match, which was our Jersey Triad versus Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit. Steiner and Sting seems like such a silly disappointment. You don't quite feel like the match doesn't seem to exist for any reason. I'm glad that they're higher up on the card because I love them both, but I don't think you walk away caring about their situation more.
No, because
don't even remember how they got into it.
Literally, they just start fighting at some point on some Nitro.
Yeah.
Like Rick Steiner thinks he's better than he is, and so he's going after
Sting's
the big names, and Sting doesn't have anybody to face right now
because no one wants to put him over.
Well, I guess technically the last pay-per-view we had Sting and Goldberg versus each other, and then the Steiners came down and attacked them.
Yeah.
So I guess that's technically probably how we got there. But it's like, but why didn't we have that tag match? Which I actually found out Scott Steiner, I think, has a bit of a back injury. So I think that's why he wasn't on the show either.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's probably why Goldberg wasn't on the show. Like, Goldberg's not on the show. I guess we're not going to feed someone to the wolf, basically. Yeah. I'm like, there's something in every match that you can, like, kind of go, what are we thinking? But other than that tag match, and even in that match, there's things that I can go, what are we thinking?
Yeah. I mean,
that tag match is the best match and probably the only match worth
watching from an in-ring perspective.
Yeah.
Although Konnan and Ray had some fun combination spots that they put together.
I'll agree with that. There was that catapult into a drop kick spot that was cool.
Also really funny to watch Rey Mysterio wrestle in overalls and come out in a gas mask.
Yeah.
It's just comedic. And good for him for being able to do all that shit in fucking
I'm not going to lie. Disco Inferno and Buff Bagwell, like, it's not a great match.
It's not bad. I wasn't mad at it.
And it's not a match that I probably need to see on a pay-per-view. But as we've mentioned many times in this show, like, they're both guys that they're good hands. They can work a match. It's just not always the most compelling thing.
No, but fans do.
They definitely do react to Buff Bagwell.
Yeah,
and to Disco.
And to Disco. So, like, I'm not mad at either of them. It's just funny because they're kind of the same guy. So it's just funny to see them have a match against each other.
Is it weird?
And you know what it is before it starts. You know what it looks like. You can close your eyes and visualize it. Same with Nature Boy and not Ric Flair. Nature Boy Ric Flair, obviously. And Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
It's like we know what that looks like now, and especially that they're older. Like,
I mean, they're just playing the greatest hits.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to do.
Which I think would be fine if the stakes mattered, but they don't anymore. They think they do, but to us as viewers, we were proven last time they did this that
they don't matter.
That they truly don't matter.
Yeah. Well, let's move over to most disappointing. And, I mean, I'm going to go first to the best match of the night, and that's the tag match.
Yeah.
That
really liked it.
We probably shouldn't do the same spots in both of the tag matches. Like, these agents need to talk to each other.
Do they even have agents at this point?
I mean, maybe not, but like, because they do the ref distracted spot on the hot tag in the first match, and they literally do the exact same spot.
I know. I caught all that.
And then we had the extra long heat segment.
It's like, why didn't you do a ref bump instead of the distraction if you're going to... It's like, you know, we'll do the bump, you do the distraction, and then we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
just a conversation.
These matches need to be somewhat different, especially when most of them are kind of nothing anyway. They need to be at least somewhat different. Yeah. And, I mean, I think literally other than just like the dogs attacking Sting.
I mean, that's the worst thing on the show.
That's the worst thing on the show, yes. Or literally Sid Vicious comes out and causes a disqualification for his teammate, costing him the belt. Or what other match was it that they, like, literally someone ran in and just like, Buff Bagwell. Buff Bagwell comes out to help Piper and just gets him disqualified. Like, just people coming in and, like, you have to be better about interfering if you're going to interfere, bro.
Yeah, sometimes you can interfere sometimes and it doesn't become a disqualification. We see it all the time. The ref's back was turned. Sid jackknifes Kevin Nash and Macho Man covers him for the belt. But you know who has the book?
Kevin Nash.
And he's not going to give up that belt. Unless Hogan comes back.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
How about best performer of the night?
It's got to be one of the guys in the match that we cared about the most, which was our 8th match, our tag match, and I'm going to give it to Kanyon because how many chances are we going to give it to Kanyon? And he got the pin because I think everybody performed really well in that match, and WCW ever doing like the nice or respectful thing, I think is cool because it's so rare.
Yeah,
and it was nice that they let Kanyon get the pin because they understood how much more helpful it is to him than anybody else in the match. The only other, like Saturn is, it goes like Saturn, Benoit, Bigelow, DDP with Kanyon at the bottom as far as like hierarchy and like fame and notoriety, like where you've been on the card, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they let the right guy get the pin because if subconsciously it makes to anybody watching him feel like more of a guy, which he hasn't really been yet.
And most surprising? Is it Vicious showing up?
Well, I mean, after he left,
I kind of basically
ECW,
kind of like telegraphed it whenever we talked about it. We're gonna see,
but it's like Sid
ECW show.
Sid's gonna show up whenever he feels like working, whenever he needs to build a in-law suite in his backyard. Sid will show up to wrestle for one of the two companies, and it was funny that we ever even saw him in ECW.
How Good Rap Is Crap is a good song.
It's okay. I don't think it's that.
It's an earworm.
Maybe more for you than me, but I think it's funny.
I mean, it's 27 years later, and I can still pretty much sing the song.
It's impressive. I was surprised at how stupid the dog angle was.
Yeah.
That really blew my mind because, like, it was
like
just...
They saw... I mean, the idea of it, I don't think is bad. The execution of it
is impossible, which makes it bad.
Yes. Like, it's an idea you throw at the wall, and if you don't come up with a better idea, that's the idea you go with. But there's so many better ideas that you could have come up with.
They could have just hit him with a car.
I mean, they just did that, though, with Nash.
But, I mean,
the thing is you...
They could have dropped an anvil on his head. It would have been less stupid.
You could still have the dogs attacking, because obviously once they go through the curtains...
Yeah, it's a prepackaged.
It cuts to a prepackaged video.
Yeah.
You have the dogs attack him, and then the cameras cut away, but then they literally drag him back out and pin him.
Yeah.
That would have made at least some sense.
But then he'd have to be bleeding.
You can do that.
You can do that, but are they willing to do it? And they're like also talking about how it's like, oh, well, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. He's going to go to the hospital.
I mean, we know Tony oversells everything. Come on now.
I mean, yeah, he's a really bad announcer. So I'm sorry, Tony.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Turn the lights down, turn the projectors on, because we're ready to rumble. This week, the film we're covering is Nasty Nuisance, released August 6th, 1943 by Hal Roach Studios. Directed by Glenn Tryon and written by Earl Snell and Clarence Marks. Starring Bobby Watson, Joe Devlin, and Johnny Arthur. The plot of this film is Germany's Adolf Hitler, with his Axis stooges, Italy's Mussolini, and Japan's Tsukiyama. Although he tried to avoid taking them, is on their way via submarine to a tropical country to negotiate a treaty with the High Chief Paj Mob. However, an American PT boat crew is already there and have some plans for Schickenbit Gruber and his buddies.
So this is a Hitler comedy during the war.
Yes.
Hilarious. This is like exploitation comedy film, which, you know, who knows how much people were aware of concentration camps at the time, but it's in such bad taste that I can't help but laugh.
So this is actually some trivia for this. That's actually a sequel to The Devil with Hitler.
Was that where the Hitler and Devil...
no clue.
You know,
didn't watch that one.
They were roommates or something?
And it was also released under the name Double-Crossed Fool.
This is a B movie for sure.
Absolutely. Some reviews and ratings of this one. IMDb has it at a 4.5. Letterboxd at a 2.1. And I found this IMDb user review from Jimdex in 2019. Plot is terrible, but portrayals of Hitler and Mussolini are spot on. Lots of production values in sets and costumes. My review, this is Axis Powers meets the Three Stooges. There were 3 different plots going on, and none were that engaging. I actually wondered if I was missing something early on, as this was a sequel. And the wrestler of this film was King Kong Kashi.
That's a guy I've never heard of.
And this is our first time seeing him. He worked the St. Louis and Kansas territories during the late 40s. That was kind of his area. Okay,
so this is the early 40s.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not even, he becomes more established, I guess.
Yeah.
Post this in wrestling.
Yeah. And he was playing one of the Paj Mob's guards who really just stand around and look menacing because he was a big old dude. His nickname is King Kong.
Is he like King Kong Bundy big, or is he like,
yes,
is he big and jacked?
He's King Kong Bundy size.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Production value-wise was pretty good. I mean, it's a set pieces are, it's basically like a Indian tribe, like not like Native American, but like India. So, you know, it was fine.
This was the Hitler version of When Nature Calls.
Yeah. But I gave this movie a 2.0 on as a rating.
Was it at least like funny and how like this exists?
I mean,
there
were
thing?
Parts that like
I'm not even talking about that, but
get
just
a
like
chuckle.
like just like you're like, why does this exist kind of thing, where you're just like...
It was more like, why is this movie?
Yeah.
And wrestler performance, he did his job of looking menacing, so I gave him a 2.5. And movie does sound interesting. I did have to go and find it at the library.
The only thing I would want to see is like a clip compilation.
I mean, there might be one out there. Like, actually, I believe for this one, the tape or disc that I got is actually Hal Roach Studios did all these like short B movies,
yeah.
And a bunch of them are put on discs, collections and stuff like that, and that's how I watched this movie.
Like back in the like mid 2000s, whenever you checked out at Walmart, there'd be like a box of like 10 DVDs, and it would be like just shit.
10 movies on one disc,
or like or like 5 discs with 20 movies, and it's like $5 kind of thing.
Yeah. Next week, King of the Ring, 1999. You excited?
I'm curious as to how much the King of the Ring could mean in 1999. Did we even have King of the Ring 98?
Yes.
Who won?
Triple H.
Oh, yeah. It seems like that was longer ago. But, yeah, King of the Ring feels like such a 80s, 90s thing that I'm like, I can't believe it went to 99. Maybe it goes further, but...
it still goes for a few more years.
Yeah, I'm interested because, I mean, I guess it worked for Triple H. He's still working his way up the card. And who could it be next?
But music from this week's show is the theme from Great American Bash. And Kevin Nash won our main event, so we play the Wolfpack theme by Jimmy Hart and Howard Helm. And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you're doing the YouTube thing, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. You can always leave comments on there. I definitely try and check those more often nowadays than I used to. I'll try and be better. And if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, if you want to hit up some recipes, Shane might be here next week.
We never know with this guy.
Yeah.
We love him, we miss him, and we wish him the best.
But we're headed to Greensboro, North Carolina, so hit us up with some of those North Carolina delicacies. But you can do those things to our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.
You're doing that word to feel their shoes. See, it's just a crowd pleaser. On the ground to leave, you're the punishment for making enemies with these soldiers. So